Hi, Misha here, and I just stepped outside. I don't know if you can hear, but there are actually a lot of birds in dripping water because it's been raining. You probably think it's afternoon. It's actually early morning, about 3:30 or so. And just taking a break. Been packing boxes all night. And this isn't the first night, and this isn't the last night. And something is happening that, honestly, I never even thought would happen. It just wasn't even on the realm. Because of recent things, there has been a run on pump-action shotguns. And quite frankly, some of the more cheap ones. People are buying home defense shotguns, self-defense shotguns like crazy. They're also buying ammo, but that tends to happen during most buying sprees. But yeah, the pump shotgun thing, I've been in this business. I've had this place for over 10 years. I worked at a gun shop before that, and of course I've been a buyer of guns and whatnot for long before that, so never have seen a buying thing on pump shotguns. It is, it's pretty funny. Every time I'll hit relist on some of my auctions on Gunbroker for any kind of Mossberg or Remington, it's mostly been Mossbergs selling, but it could be this because I have more of them. But Remingtons too, but yeah, mostly Mossbergs. Some Benellis too, but I only have a couple of those in stock because they're expensive. The most popular ones seem to be not your ultra cheap, because most of your home tactical shotguns are a little fancy, having something. So I would say $400 to $600 range seems to be what people are buying. But this is an interesting panic. I'm not sure if people think they can shoot the coronavirus. I'm not sure if they think that hordes of people are going to be zombified by corona and then break into their house to steal their toilet paper. I'm not really quite sure. Yeah. But I've had more people in the last week basically either email or call me saying they want to buy their pump shotgun. And what's funny is none of them will admit to panic buying. They'll all say, oh yeah, I've been thinking about this for a long time. This has nothing to do, the corona has nothing to do with it. But funnily enough, they waited till now, and none of them seem to know what they want. I love helping people, but as I was giving one of the guys who helps me out here, Ian, kind of just talking with him, we were talking about just this, and I said, if someone says, hey, I'd like to buy a Mossberg, which one do I want? Or, hey, I'd like to buy, blah, blah, blah. Give me that. But some of these people are just saying, I'd like to buy a shotgun. Which one? What size? What capacity? They don't know. I said, it's like saying, hey, I want to play sports. Which sports? I don't know. At least tell me baseball, basketball, football. Give me something. It's interesting. Now, there was one lady who bought a Remington. She was at least honest with me. She said she was doing it because she was afraid of the coronavirus. I appreciate that honesty, so I'm at a point to get her gun out as quick as I could. Seemed like a nice person, but really had no idea how to buy a gun. The process isn't very difficult, but seems a very interesting time. I've sold a few AKs too. The Polish WBP Fox, that's been good for me. I posted a video on here a few days ago about that conversion. But yeah, it's kind of fortuitous. I've had a number of these guns. I had a large number of Remington 870 police magnums with a smaller number of 870 tacticals and 870 DMs, which is the detaching magazine. And I had a large number of Mossbergs in the 590A1 range, with a smaller number in the 590, and only a few 500s. I don't typically do many 500s. If I do, it's ones like the retro grade where you have the really pretty blued in the wood. I know my market. I know what I do, and I like to sell kind of the middle tier or high end stuff. I don't really do well with the real inexpensive stuff. Not because I'm saying it's bad, but that tends to be the kind of things people don't go online to buy. They're just going to buy it at their local gun shop or maybe from a local buddy. It makes sense. I mean, some of the cheap shotguns are $200. Why would you buy a $200 gun online and then pay $20, $30, $40 to ship it, and then another $20, $30, $40 for transfer? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But lucky for me, and I've been doing this for years and years, most gun shops don't carry 870 police magnums or Mossberg 590A1s. In the case of the Mossberg, they don't, because they cost too much for the gun shop, and their profit margin. You know, a gun shop will make essentially the same money on a $250 500 that they'll make on a $500 590A1. As far as the Remington 870 police guns, funnily enough, last year and into this year, many customers have called me asking how I got my police magnums, which is kind of funny to me because I never really thought about it. I've just always had them. But they said that their dealers told them that they didn't make them anymore. Not only do they make them, there's no restriction on them. They're pump shotguns. It's just police is kind of their duty grade series, and they are nice guns. For the main channel, Mishaco, we do $5 Patreon video donations, suggestions, requests, and there's going to be an upcoming one that I probably will do this week if I have time. I would have already had it done except for this recent thing. But the guy asked, what's the difference, if there's really a difference between pre- and post-Freedom Group purchase of Remington when it comes to their 870s. So I'm going to say some things in the main video that might be interesting and show some, compare a couple of early ones and a couple of new ones and see. But during a panic like this, no one really, they're not going to worry about that kind of minutiae. Anyway, as I was saying, I had a bunch of Remingtons and Mossbergs. And I was kind of wondering why I bought so many. I know why, because last year, Lou Horton's went out of business. And all throughout the year, my sales rep, who I really got on with well, and I knew he works on commission, and, they had some really good deals. They'd call me up, April, and say, hey, we're selling the 870s. This is the Woodstock. They were $500, let's say. They were on sale for $450, so I'd buy some. And then next week it'd be, hey, we're selling the Mossberg 930 JM Pro, which is the Jerry Michalik, or Mikulik, or Manlik, whatever version. The regularly 700, they're on sale for $550. Good deals. They kept going on and on all last year, and the deals got better and better. And then they got really good. And then they announced they're going out of business. And the last 2 months, I was actually officially their last customer on November 18th, 2019, I believe, anyway. But for the last 2 months, late September, October, and the first part of November, they were really doing good sales. I mean, taking hundreds, even 150. And sometimes they were... if they had 20 of something left, if you'd come out and they'd say, well, we'll do $350 a gun. Hey, if I take all 20, will you, do $300 a gun? And they would usually say, yeah, because it was still better, just turning money loose. And what was happening last year, I was selling these shotguns, but let's say for every 4 I ordered, I only sold 3. Just, I was more were coming in than were going out. Not a huge difference, but noticeable. And after buying for months on end, I really got a stock. And this is especially true with Mossberg. The Remingtons were selling better last year. It was actually around November, December, and into January. Remingtons, for whatever reason, were really hot. So I was selling Remingtons very well, but Mossbergs were just dead. And now that's flipped. Now, again, part of it is I don't have as many Remingtons, but even, I've got, 5 or 6 different part numbers up. People, even for roughly the same money, seem to be buying the Mossbergs, because I think they appeal to different markets. I think the Remington is a more attractive looking gun and a more old school gun. Like, you get more older people buying Remingtons. Let's say, people my age, 40 and up. Whereas Mossbergs are a more modern, tactical-looking gun, and even if they cost the same, you get a few more features. They hold a couple of extra shells, they've got a heat shield maybe. Remington doesn't do heat shields. Mossberg's ghost ring sights are a lot more affordable. They charge like $30 for their ghost ring, whereas Remington charges nearly $100. Mossberg ships theirs with speed feeds, the shell storage stocks. I've only ever seen one Remington that came out with shell storage, and that was last year. It just seems like Mossberg has more modern tactical features, and the younger crowd kind of likes that look versus the old wood and steel look of Remington. And I think it helps, too, that Mossberg is the official pump shotgun, more or less, of the U.S. military. Now, they don't at me. Yes, I know they have plenty of 870s. They even have some older, Winchesters and stuff. And, of course, they had one of my favorites, the Benelli 1014. But probably more Mossbergs, be they 500s or 590A1s, are in military service and have been for 30 years, than any other single maker of shotguns. They've kind of supplanted Remington. And if you look at their guns, it's pretty clear why. They're not attractive in some senses. They're sometimes a little rougher, a little rattlier, but they're built like frickin' tanks, especially their barrels. They're thick as a piece of rebar, it feels like. And they've got dual extractors. They've got a really good elevator. They tend to hold one extra shell for the same length of tube compared to a Remington. Yeah, and that's why I own 3 Mossbergs and no Remingtons myself, personally, in my own collection. So, I don't feel bad about selling these to all these people, because they're literally what I would own and do own myself. So, hey. What else? Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I told the wife, I said I was kind of kicking myself a tiny bit, letting maybe a little bit of sentiment direct me to buying all those last year. But no, as it turns out, it's paying off. I mean, some of these have been here the better part of a year. Some of them came in last October, but the last of them came in right before Thanksgiving, because again, they went out of business on November 18th or so it takes about a week to get here. So the last Lou Hortons got here right before then. But at least they're paying off. I'm going to have a lot more room out there now. Hey, more places for models, maybe? I'm actually hoping a batch of Swiss guns comes in, because after this panic and after the good season we've had in January and February, I'm mindful of how to restock my inventory. Things like Glocks, your standard AR-15s, excluding Colts, they sell really well in a brick and mortar, but they don't sell well on an online store. Unless you're a drop shipper. A lot of these places you see, that's how their prices are so low. They're just a middleman. They're kind of a gateway. They don't actually handle the product directly. You place an order with a Joe's shop or whatever. He transmits that as a drop ship to, say, CZ USA, and then it, comes from them. So, yeah, Joe's happy to make $10 or $20 over cost. Me, I don't do that, because I want the product physically here, because sometimes the manufacturer's description is wrong more than once, especially with Remingtons, but even Mossberg, but really Remingtons, they'll have a description on their site. I remember there was one gun that, quite recent, the website claimed it had a 20-inch barrel, and I had the gun here. I could measure the frickin' barrel. And it was 18.5 to be exact. Some people took me in my word and like, oh, well, you've got the gun, you should know. But other people would not believe me. They kept saying, well, but the website says this. I have the gun. What do you want me to do? Take a picture with a tape measure by it? I mean, some of these people, So that's why I don't drop ship, because if I didn't know by having it firsthand, I could have misled customers, and that's the problem. If you ship a product and they get it and they're not happy with it, do you think they're going to go after Remington, who drop shipped it, or after me, Ozark Bear Arms, the seller? Of course they're going to go after me. So if there's any chargebacks or anything, that's not on Remington, that's on me. To me, the 10 or 20 bucks you can make on drop shipping is just not worth the liability. Plus, I don't feel like I can deliver the customer service that I would want. So, yeah, I just don't. So if I miss out on a few dollars here and there, I'll live. But yeah, once this buying spree's over, I'll have to figure out what to do next. And I am hopeful for a batch of Swiss guns to make it in. But the current situation's kind of funny. I might make a separate video on it, but what can I say? I'm just working day to day. I work from home and don't really see a lot of people face to face anywho, so see my cats mostly. But I just thought this was an interesting thing, something that we've never really seen before, a pump action shotgun panic buy. But, yeah. What do you think? What have you been seeing out there? I know ammo is hard to get unless the store institutes a policy of, no more than 2-3 boxes, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, it's a thing. I'm happy to move the shotguns. It's time for some of them to find new homes. So... And I haven't really raised my prices. Some of them were on sale before this just because they had been moving slowly and I was trying to drum up things, but that's about the most I did was take them off their sale prices, which in the case of Mossberg's is only a $10, maybe $20 difference. So I don't really believe in jacking up prices when things are like this. I didn't do it during the 2012-2013 Sandy Hook. I didn't do it early 2016 when people thought Clinton was going to win. And I don't do it now. I mean, I'm going to make money. That's my business. But I prefer to do it honestly and straightforward. It's what helps me sleep at night. Yeah. Boy, those birds are really going. But yeah, I've been up most nights packing boxes. I should count on how many shotguns sold. I don't even know. They all blur together. I know we've got a full load to go out tomorrow, and I'm already starting to get more than enough to pack up Wednesday. I'm hoping by Friday I'm not too far behind on orders. I'm staying pretty well up. But one of the choke points is getting FFLs from receiving dealers. They're so busy that some of them aren't having time to send their own licenses over to us, or they're getting so many emails that they miss the request and all the noise, and that's hard. People don't realize when you have all these emails, sometimes you just miss one, or it goes accidentally to spam. Oh well. I can't say it's something situation that worries me. I was going to go down and visit my parents. I haven't seen them, since Christmas, and I don't get to see them more than a couple of times a year, and haven't actually visited and stayed the night since we moved 5 years ago. I was planning on doing that right now, spring break time, maybe see some family and stuff, but I did put that on hold. I mean, things like that can't be moved, I am not doing just because. I already had my doctor's checkup back in early February, so I'm good there. And I tend to be a bit of a hoarder. I know, shock, huh? So my wife and I always keep supplies on hand as a general rule. For me, that's always been a necessity. I mean, I don't drive, and before I was married, I lived alone, and so whenever I had a opportunity to go to the store or whatever, I would stock up, because it might be 2 or 3 weeks before I could get there again, or maybe even a month. I never have had the luxury of just hopping in my car to go to the corner store to pick up something I forgot. And unfortunately, Arkansas is not the most friendly environment for walking some places, and public transport here is less than impressive. Although it's better these days than it was when I was in college 20 years ago, to be sure. Well, just thought I'd come out here and get some air, unwind. Pretty much done with the packing, so gonna take a few notes for some videos, eat a bite, and hit the hay, because I gotta get up in about 6 hours and start doing it all over again. But such is life. I might reward myself with a bottle of vodka this weekend, though. That sounds pretty deserved about right now. Alrighty, guys. And gals, cats, dogs, parakeets. This is Misha, and I'll catch you very soon next time.